Hello and welcome back. It's me again, and today we will be discussing diabetes. Is that an odd topic? Maybe so. Let me explain myself in just a second, but we will be doing green mode with Samson, so let's get into it. So, originally one of my topics was, Great. Oh, cool, thank you. Let me hurt myself first. In game. Originally one of my topics was going to be on artificial sweeteners. Why? Oh, ugh. That was close. And so I looked into artificial sweeteners and was not super impressed. It was, I mean, I guess I learned a thing or two, but it was pretty dull. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not a whole lot to talk about, so I saw some things in there about diabetes and figured, you know what, I'll look up diabetes. Because, you know, I thought I knew how it worked, and I didn't. So, you know, I learned something. So let's get to talking about it. But before we dive into diabetes directly, let's instead talk about blood sugar, which is a very relevant topic, as you may already be aware. So, blood sugar, that is the level of glucose in your bloodstream, is essential to your body's functioning. Well, I am not killing fast enough, so let's use that. Ow! Oh, I knocked. Ow, come on. Well, I have more damage. That's the beauty of Samson here. So again, glucose in your blood is essential for your body functioning because that's how your cells get energy to do things. I looked away. That one's my fault. And so the term glycemia, by the way, represents just your level of blood sugar. It's not necessarily anything good or bad by itself, but of course that means hypoglycemia is low blood sugar, and hyperglycemia is high blood sugar. And let's see. Glucose can be stored in your bones and in your liver in the form of glycogen, where it can be converted back into glucose, and also your body can construct glucose from various fats and even proteins. And I'm not actually leaving yet, I just wanted to clear this room out first for some reason. I'm really just waiting for a good use of my feather here. And let's get to it. All right, not bad. Now great. So the pancreas is the organ of your body, the gland in your body that is responsible for monitoring and regulating how much blood sugar you have. Cheap keys. Let's see. Caves, depths, womb, dark, and oh, yeah, the next floor should have a heart, right? Anyway, your pancreas releases either insulin or glucagon as needed. Oh, increased. Oh, gross. Okay. Oh. Not okay. I'll sure. This is getting risky here. Who are you? Okay, that's fine. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna do that. I'm going to spend a key, and then I'm gonna do this. So again, your pancreas releases insulin or glucagon as needed. Glucagon, glue. It releases glue. And if you are wondering just how important this is to your body, keep in mind, that your brain uses between 20 to 25% of the glucose in your bloodstream. So yeah, this is kind of important for your brain functioning. Also, if you are fasting, your brain can absorb up to 60% of the glucose in your bloodstream. So having low glucose is very, very bad, as you might imagine. Now, I said, I mentioned glucose and, not glucose. Of course I've mentioned glucose. I've mentioned insulin and glucagon, but let me talk about them in more depth. So insulin is the hormone, again, released by your pancreas that encourages cells to take up a lot more glucose from the bloodstream, thus lowering the amount that's currently in your bloodstream. Get out of here, coward. And preventing hyperglycemia. Again, too much glucose. It's created from the beta cells in your pancreas. And also, in addition to just increasing glucose intake of cells, it promotes DNA replication and protein synthesis. And in general, you can describe it as anabolism, which is the building up of longer molecules in cells, whereas glucagon is the effective opposite, promoting, I'll use it. Yeah, sure. So glucagon, again, is the effective opposite. It raises your blood sugar by causing cells to start breaking down its glycogen and also fats into glucose. And it promotes catabolism, which is the breaking down of larger molecules, basically. Now, diabetes itself is technically referred to as diabetes mellitus. Pay attention. So the term diabetes comes from the Greek word for siphon, and mellitus comes from the Latin word for sweet. So the full name of diabetes is effectively sweet siphon. The more you know. Well, the wafer means kind of nothing to me, honestly. But Seraphim is probably one of the best familiars, so yeah. I also need more damage or fire rate, so this is very much appreciated. Let's see. Ooh! No secret room. Oh, Bone Heart! Will I? Yeah, I will. Oh. And an Eternal Heart. Okay. Sure. And there's nothing else back there. I guess let's go get healthy. Oh, I am big here. Thank you. And yeah, I guess that's good. Maybe. Hopefully there's a heart on the next floor. Anyway, diabetes. There are actually more than two types. Of course, type 1 and type 2 is probably what most people are familiar with, but there are also a variety of hybrid types or even unknown types of diabetes out there. I will be discussing 3 types today. Ooh. I mean, none of these items are really that great. Change, the R key. I got a key. Cool, thanks. Let's... Oh! Now that is a good combo. And I don't feel like testing whatever that pill is. But I don't feel like taking the R key either. Let's take this. Donate a little more, see what we got. Oh, yes. Also cheap hearts. Oh, almost walked into there without proper protection. Protection isn't the right word. Of course there's a heart inside there now. I don't care about my bone heart that much. Anyway, let's get her going. Let's see, so the three types I will be talking about today are type 1 and type 2, obviously, but also gestational diabetes, which I will discuss first, because I found it interesting enough to talk about on its own. So, gestational diabetes is kind of what it sounds like. It is diabetes that develops in a pregnant woman, basically. Oh, there's an invisible guy. I was confused there for a second. So as it turns out, between 2 to 10% of all pregnancies, there you are, end up developing diabetes during the pregnancy, or rather the mother develops diabetes during the pregnancy. However, this is usually just temporary. The form of diabetes during the pregnancy is sort of a hybrid form. It can be a mix of inadequate insulin secretion and insulin responsiveness. But more importantly, in, let's see, 5 to 10% of cases of pregnant women developing gestational diabetes, the diabetes ends up sticking around past the pregnancy and usually survives as type 2 diabetes, usually. I've just found that really interesting. It's not something I was aware of. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. But, again, don't be too afraid of it, because that does mean that even if it develops, which it's rare in the first place, not actually that rare, uncommon in the first place, this means that, let's go ahead and use that. Even though it's uncommon in the first place, it also, goes away in like 90% of cases. 90 to 95% of cases, in fact. And there's a heart. Oh. Let's see, now, type 1 diabetes. Ooh. Well, Holy Mantle kind of works against me. So yeah, I'll take this. Type 1 diabetes occurs in around 5 to 10% of all cases of diabetes, and it is fundamentally the loss of those beta cells that produce insulin, meaning there is no insulin in the bloodstream, meaning you have you're at risk of hyperglycemia. Oh, right, now that I'm a floating little ghost man, I can check out what this is after all. Okay, well, you know, that wasn't great, but, you know, maybe it could have been. So without beta cells, there's no insulin, which means hyperglycemia, and with prolonged high blood sugar, what you're looking at is nerve, kidney, or eye damage, which isn't great, but also if you have extremely high blood sugar. Oh, another bone heart. Oh, I should have... Oh, well. If you have extremely high blood sugar, you're looking at something real bad. You're looking at the possibility of fainting or even death. Again, because your brain is kind of dependent on blood sugar. Oh, well, it's dependent on... All that I've described about it so far is how it's affected by low blood sugar, but it is affected by high blood sugar too. That can really... clog some things up in some very bad ways. And let's just re-roll. I don't really feel like spending much more money, to be honest. I just want to see if there's anything good. Yeah, I'll take that. You know I'm a sucker for blood clot, while I still need to pick it up more times. Let's see. Usually, type 1 diabetes is caused by an autoimmune disorder. In other words, the reason your pancreas doesn't have any beta cells to produce insulin is because your own immune system is attacking and destroying those beta cells. Sometimes it can be caused by other things as well, but that's pretty rare. Uh-oh. Oh! Well, I haven't lost the bone heart yet. Oh! That was very close. Now, type 1 diabetes is actually genetically linked, but not genetically determined, because again, it's sort of an autoimmune thing. At least I don't believe it's genetically determined. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But what this means is that you can have the genes for type 1 diabetes, and whether or not you develop it is sort of up to chance, in a way. Oh, there it goes. And I'll get hurt again. There we go. Make the most of that heart. So, certain environmental factors, such as some types of infections or illnesses, could trigger this autoimmune response that ends up attacking your own beta cells. Type 1 diabetes is usually identified before the age of 20, but sometimes, again, because it's dependent on environmental factors to some extent, it can be diagnosed later in life. Yeah, I'll just continue taking health, thank you. Let's see, so if you have type 1 diabetes, the way to treat it is through external insulin injections. But something to note is that your blood sugar levels and your insulin levels, at least for a person without diabetes, these levels fluctuate throughout the day. Yeah, sure, I'll look at that. Oh, thank you. So again, it's supposed to fluctuate throughout the day, but if you're taking external insulin, then you're just giving it... Thank you. Oh, sure. You're just giving a fixed amount of insulin to your bloodstream for your body to use, which can lead to actually a lot of hypoglycemia. In fact, 4 out of 5 people with type 1 diabetes report having hypoglycemia events at least twice a week, I believe, compared to 1/2 of people with type 2 diabetes that report the same. So again, that means almost everyone with type 1 diabetes will experience hypoglycemia fairly regularly. Because again, if I haven't made this clear enough already, your insulin levels are supposed to fluctuate, but if you're just giving a fixed injection, then it can't really adapt to your body's needs as well. So at some level, it is in a way expected that you would have hypoglycemia at some point. In fact, fairly regularly. Let's see. Now let's get into type 2 diabetes. So this, I mentioned at the start that I'm glad I ended up looking this up because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about type 2 diabetes. I thought I knew how it worked. I was wrong. Type 1 diabetes I got fairly correct, I want to say, in terms of my understanding of it. Oh, the tower, thank you. Yeah. Oh. Well, that didn't work out so well. Oh, heart. Yes, hurt me. Hurt me, there we go. So, I did not realize that type 2 diabetes has no known cause. I mean, there are risk factors, but there is no known mechanism that causes it. It's characterized by, yeah, sure, I guess, Monstrance. It's characterized by insulin resistance. That is, your body actually produces enough insulin, but for one reason or another, the cells in your body are just like, I'm good. I don't need to take up more glucose right now. And it's kind of weird. At least, weird to me. So sometimes this can be combined... Oh, hi. This can be combined with low insulin secretion as well, but again, it is characterized by the body being, at some level, resistant to the effects of insulin. I really thought beforehand, going into this, that type 2 diabetes was, strongly associated with obesity, and that meant that you have, too many cells in your body for your pancreas to produce enough insulin. That was my assumption, and boy, was I wrong. In fact, obesity is, it is still strongly associated with type 2 diabetes, but it varies a lot depending on race. So, excess body fat, as it's called, is associated with only 30% of people of Chinese or Japanese descent with spun. Oh. Not with spun. So again, type 2 diabetes is only associated... No, sorry. Obesity is only associated with 30% of people with Chinese or Japanese descent, as compared to 60 to 80% of people of European or African descent that have obesity alongside type 2 diabetes, and 100% of people of Pacific Islander descent, which does indeed mean that you can develop diabetes without being obese. Now, again, there is no actual known mechanism for type 2 diabetes. It's not clear what causes the reduced insulin intake, or insulin resistance rather. If you can figure out the mechanism behind it, then usually it's actually re-diagnosed as something else. Fun fact. Ugh. I hate these guys. I hate every enemy in this game, except the ones that are easy, I guess. Whoa. Now, again, just because the mechanism is unknown doesn't mean risk factors are unknown. Obviously, it's fairly well known that type 2 diabetes is associated with obesity. Yes, that is true. Again, as I went through just a moment ago, it does vary by race. But type 2 diabetes is also associated with physical activity, specifically low physical activity, poor diet, that is a diet that is high in sugars, saturated or trans fats. It's also associated with stress and urban lifestyles, urbanization rather. They're kind of the same thing, kind of. Yay, I got enough money. Now I use death. Ah, that was good. Now, this can mean that type 2 diabetes is associated with something like childhood traumas, because that induces stress, absolutely. Oh, hello. Okay, just checking, I didn't leave another heart back there. I guess I'll continue. Oh, no, I have enough pennies. Let me go buy a heart real quick. So again, there are a bunch of risk factors involved for type 2 diabetes, and it's just, it kind of boggles my mind that the mechanism, again, is unknown. That it's like, yeah, if you are obese, there's a high chance you'll develop diabetes, but it's just, like, you might not. And if you do, it's kind of like, okay, the body just kind of does that sometimes, I guess. And of course, there are ways to treat it. A lot of the main ways of treating type 2 diabetes involve lifestyle changes rather than insulin directly. But still, it's just like, with how common it is, it's just wild to me that it's not that well understood, you know? Am I alone in that? Maybe I'm just not that used to being around people with diabetes. I can't say that I've ever personally known anyone like that. I mean, I have been around people with diabetes, just not friends or family, you know? And don't take that money. I want that money. It's my, don't, stop it. Don't you dare, no! I was saving that for later. I did have jury duty once where, shockingly enough, the case was canceled because one of the lawyers had an emergency due to his blood sugar levels, which is not how most cases are canceled. Fine, I'll take it. So, of course, I do understand how serious diabetes can be for people, but again, it's not something I personally was too familiar with before, and now I'm a little better about it, I guess. A little more familiar with it. Also, I was about to say I should get hurt more, and then I remembered that I bleed pennies. So, maybe not. That's what living in the US is like, am I right? Bleeding pennies. No, no, no! My magnet caused him to absorb my money. I am ashamed. Stop it. Oh, I could have used those spiders to hurt myself. Weird sentence, but whatever, it makes sense in context. There we go. Now, let's see how much I can donate, and there's exactly one guy left to blow up. And it's spiders. Thank you, spiders. What's it gonna be? 1%? Alright, 2%. And with that, Samson is donezo. At least until greedier mode. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. And again, I found it pretty interesting, actually. And I'm definitely not doing an episode on artificial sweeteners now. But again, fascinating stuff. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope you got educated a bit today. I said the same thing like 3 times in a row. Don't worry about that. I also hope you were entertained, because I am an entertainer. Like a retainer, but I enter you. Don't worry about that last part. Anyway, take care.